All right. So, top of the hour, 11 o'clock. I'll go ahead and just get started with our intro. And then, of course, when people are going to file in, until then, well, while that's happening, go ahead and ask any questions during the demonstration. We have a Q&A, and I'll get your questions probably live. So I can kick it off. So, my name is Ike Mendoza. I am here at Mission Control. We're going to go talk about the introduction all the way down to Mission Control history, licensing, and demonstration. And I've been in the Salesforce ecosystem for quite some time now, just so you know. So a little bit about our history. So our CEO and his best mate, Chris, they started off as SI partners, right? They had this tool within their jurisdiction that they were like, all right, this is great. It's helping us service our customers. But then they realized the breadth of the tool, expanded on it. And then from 2012 all the way to 2023, now 2024, we've been growing, adding more features, adding more functionality, making sure to listen to our customers, our end users, to deliver a product that makes sense, that's effective, efficient, and just getting the job done all around, right? So we're not in just one area, we're worldwide, affecting over 25 plus countries, 12,000 total users, 500,000 projects, as well as 8 million time logs. And with that being said, who uses control or who uses mission control, right? We handle from professional services all the way down to software. So when we think about construction engineering, financial services, health services, and how we support individuals there, is our tool is so wide and so vast that it can help a lot of different areas and a lot of different places. So don't think just because we're project management living in Salesforce that we can only service maybe one or two verticals, one or two industries. That's not the case, right? So we're making sure we're attaching ourselves to professional services, nonprofits, software, others, right? So everyone can use project management PSA tooling. It's just how they can shape mission control to work the best for them. And of course, we have a great team here to help kind of just dive into that, right? Making sure that you're aware of those different methodologies that essentially grow your team and make your business a lot more successful and scalable. So within Mission Control, because we are built on the Salesforce platform, what does that really mean? We're native to Salesforce, so all of our Salesforce license types are on the left, from professional all the way down to the experience and community cloud. We attach ourselves to plenty Salesforce licenses, and the benefit of us being native on Salesforce is that we're able to adopt the logic that Salesforce has laid out and has become such a grand company because of it, right? So adding custom fields, page layouts, maybe even some business logic and automation to make your day easier and make your workload a lot more smooth, right? So validation rules, flows, triggers, all the good things to make, those manual tasks, those redundant tasks that you don't want to always do, hand it off to a machine, right? So, and then of course we have reports and dashboarding, something to note within Salesforce, whatever data that you put into Salesforce, you are able to build a report and dashboard from. And because Mission Control is adding and pulling project management PSA data into your org, you are able now to be able to report and build dashboards from that. So when we think about reporting, when we think about just pulling out metrics that mean success to you, you define that, right? And you can go ahead and pull that out. And we're just adding on to the Salesforce platform, making it a lot better, a lot more effective, especially when we talk about project management operations, making sure that we're moving in a nice timeline, a nice route there. We are available and accessible via the Salesforce mobile app, no integration required, and we install and set up in minutes, familiar UI, and of course, we work on both Lightning Experience and Classic, Salesforce Classic. So when we talk about our demonstration, we're going to have like two different scenarios. One going to be our typical scenario. This is going to take maybe 20, 30 minutes, just kind of understanding what mission control is and then attaching it or attacking it from two different lenses. One being Ike Mendoza, the project manager, where we're going to view how to do a couple of things within mission control, like creating a project, viewing a project, maybe completing an action, logging some time, adding some resources here and there, making sure that we have a project plan built out, whether it come from a new project or just cloning a project from a template that we have defined. And then Alana Blancard on the managerial team, she just wants to get a higher level view of things. So maybe you can look at the standalone Gantt chart, see the team's workload, and visualize team data with reports and dashboards. So that's going to be our first scenario. I'm going to kind of walk through that pretty pretty efficiently and effectively, so to speak, right? So that way we get an idea of mission control, what it incorporates. But of course, I'm not going to be showing the full load of the system because mission control does a lot. It offers a lot. We don't do any add-ons here, so everything that you get, everything you see, you're going to get out of the box. But it's a case of you kind of shutting it down if you don't need that certain thing that I'm on, or just kind of rocking with it because you like it and you want to use it, you want to scale, you want to grow, and you have growth in your eyes when we think about your business, right? So for scenario 2, though, we're going to be focused on Icam Dosi, and as you can see, I have no title attached to myself, just because I'll be working multiple different hats. But the reason for scenario 2 is basically we're going to be looking at activity tracking, right? So a lot of the times we do this even internally. Maybe we want to understand, hey, how much time is this rep spending on an opportunity, right? So when we think about that, we call it the CAC tracker within mission control, or maybe, yeah, we call it CAC tracker in this use case. And that stands for client acquisition cost. So essentially, while we're working an opportunity, while we're kind of trying to get the opportunity to close one, how much effort and how much time are we spending there? And we're going to log that against a project of sorts, which is, again, just tracking our efforts on a specific client. Also, we're going to look at a COGS tracker, which is going to be more in the service realm, right? So that's going to let us know the cost of goods sold. So once a opportunity is closed one, we've looked at the CAC tracker, the client acquisition cost, and then we spent some hours acquiring that client. We finally got them. So now we don't need to worry about the CAC tracker project anymore. We're now going to, whenever an opportunity is closed one, spin up a COGS tracker, letting us know the cost of goods sold, where we're able to, if we ever have an account management meeting, logging time against it. Maybe we have a customer success or customer support call with that customer, and we just want to track the effort, track the time and activity spent on that customer. Now that they are officially a customer and we want to track that information, we can through the COGS tracker, again, cost of goods sold. And we also have a BAU tracker, right? It's kind of like a general use case, business as usual. So if at any point you want your reps, your resources to log time against things that they're doing, whether it be, I don't know, doing some admin work, maybe handling a meeting, things of that nature, like some non-billable work that you want to track, just that way you can kind of get an idea of where your resources are spending their time and how you might want to, work off of that, change some things around, right? So through demonstration scenario 2, we're going to focus on lead to opportunity, CAC tracker. So while there's an opportunity, how much effort do we take to get the opportunity closed one? The COGS tracker is going to help us with the service side of things. How are we servicing the customer when they officially become a customer, and maybe even log against a case, right? So if a customer logs a case, we can log time against that COGS tracker because we spent some time supporting the customer. And then finally, that BAU tracker is kind of like a catch-all, get an idea of what's been going on totally. So let's go ahead and focus on scenario number 1. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know, reach out. Put it in the chat board. I think that's what they call it nowadays. I don't know. I'm 27. I'm getting old. So let's go ahead and dive right into mission control. So like I mentioned, mission control is built natively on the Salesforce platform. So whatever you're seeing right now is Salesforce, right? We're just essentially an app on Salesforce App Exchange. And then if you come in here, look at the app launcher, we just type in mission control and we have mission control. And as you can see, I've actually made a couple of different things with mission control. We have our main app, mission control, but if we want to make it light, kind of customize it, scale some things down, we can, or maybe even have a team member view. So that way there's an app for your team members, which is very, very scaled down. Kind of depends on how you want to go about things. But for me, mission control, the full mission control is what I want to see. And again, built natively on the Salesforce platform, which allows us to adopt those Salesforce rules when it comes down to configuration and customizations, and especially with automation built in within the system. Because whatever integrates with Salesforce, I'll say it again, whatever integrates within Salesforce, because it's now on Salesforce and it's now integrated within Salesforce, mission control can pick it up and work off of that, right? So if you have an accounting software, if you have any kind of software, any tooling that is working and it can integrate within Salesforce, and you want it to work alongside with mission control because you want a centralized view in a one-stop shop, which everybody wants, mission control can pick it up because it is integrated within Salesforce. And also, like I mentioned earlier, the data that you put into Salesforce you are able to build a report and dashboard from it. And because Mission Control plucking out some more project management operations data, things that don't come customary with Salesforce, you are now able to build a report and dashboard from it. And that's what we're seeing right now in terms of a Mission Control dashboard. So what we're seeing now, I made two different dashboards, this key project P&L and key project cost and schedule performance. Those are two things that I've created. Other than that, these other dashboards that we're seeing is out of the box. So what we want to promote with Image Control is, hey, we're gonna give you a nice little base, right? Now it's up to you. Customize your dashboards, customize your reports to the best way, so that way it makes sense for your business. Just know that it's available at all times, because if it lives in the Salesforce system, we're able to pull out the reporting dashboard from it, and we give you a nice little, stop, or a nice little starting point here with some of these dashboards: resource utilization, hours remaining by role, actions by end date, timelines not approved, et cetera, et cetera. So moving into the Mission Control console, we're gonna go ahead and give, in scenario one, a general overview of Mission Control, and we're gonna go ahead and create a project as well, right? Whether it be new or cloning a project from a template. So within Mission Control is very, very configurable as with Salesforce, right? So let's go ahead and talk about these 4 different pads that we have here. We have our launch pad. So at any point, if you want to create something new or launch something new, it's going to live in the launch pad. So whenever you want to create a new project, maybe a clone project from some templates that we have existing here. You see my templates. Create a new role, new team, things of that nature. And the way we define a role within Mission Control, a role can be a user of Mission Control, so your internal user or internal resource that has a Mission Control license. It can be a contact living outside of the system, right? So if you have a customer that you want to kind of be in the know within a project plan, they can be in a role as well. Or you can have an asset. So if at any time you have some machines, some trucks that you just want to be able to understand their availability and the capacity, you can do that as well. We have customers that, have trucks, have machines, and they kind of assign work to that machine, letting just the whole overall business know, hey, this machine is blocked off on Tuesday, the 18th, right? If you want to schedule it, do it the 18th, right? So launching anything new is going to be on the launch pad. The progress pad is going to be focused on things that are currently in progress, maybe looking at the whiteboard, timesheet, and logging expenses on things that are currently taking place. Or we have an issue and risk log. So at any point you want your resources to log a risk and issue against a project or an action, they can. So that way the whole org has an idea of what's going on. And if the deadline is going to be pushed back, they kind of got an idea as to why already. So, and then we have our management pads. So we're seeing all these different pads. They're kind of self-explanatory, but what's great about this as well is if you want to kind of dictate who can see what. So let's say as a project manager, I want to see all 4 of these pads because it makes sense for me to understand what's going on everywhere. But for a team member, maybe they don't need access to the management pad because they're not a manager, right? So for a team member, we can kind of shut down the rest of these pads, so that way the team member can only see the progress pad, whereas a manager can see all 4 of these pads, for example, right? So as a management pad, that's going to focus on things more higher level. We get a project overview, look at the scheduler, which is a calendar view of our resources that we're going to take a look at. Maybe look at a Gantt chart and a resource planner and plan accordingly around our resources here. We also have our control pad. So within our control pad, we have what's called a daily digest. So a daily digest, what that is going to be is kind of like an email sent out to either your users, internal users, or your contacts, if you want them to be sent out to your contacts. And what's going to happen is basically going to say, hey, here are your actions for today, right? So as a user, I can see what my actions are for today, who I'm an action owner of, the timesheets, and things of that nature. I can see that information, no problem. And actually, I can try to go ahead and pull up Daily Digest. So this is my daily digest that I get internally. It's going to let me know what's going on every single time or on that day. So this is what a daily digest kind of looks like, right? So this can be sent out to your internal users or your contacts if you want to assign them work, but because they don't have a license, if you assign them work and you want them to do the work, they can get assigned that work and they'll have to email you to say, hey, I've completed this, update this on the project plan. But this is what a daily digest looks, where we have our timesheet summary, my today's actions, let me know what I have to do, hours remaining, whether I'm an owner or contributor, but it's showing today's action, but we can kind of configure the daily digest to also show pending actions and overdue actions as well. All right. So that's our daily digest. It does not need to be sent daily. We get that question quite a bit. It can be sent every Tuesday, Thursday, every Tuesday, every Friday, whatever you want to do. We also have our project status report, which is going to give us a status report of a project, letting us know some information, and we can kind of customize the way the project status report looks as well. Down below, should you want to sample or should you want to try with mission control, you absolutely can by creating a sample data, utilizing this, and kind of playing around with the system. So by all means, if you want to trial, go ahead and come in here and create some sample data if you don't want to create your own data. All right. So we're good there in terms of understanding the different paths that mission control offers. But let's go ahead and do two things here. Let's go ahead and see how easy it is to create a new project. And I'll go ahead and call this webinar June. I should say June webinar. And I'll just have two milestones, right? I'll say build, add milestone, and let's say deliver. Where I'm going to go ahead and create a budget of, let's make it easy, $1,000 for each one. All right, so we have our milestones, our project name, and our project budget. If I wanted to, I can go ahead and connect this to an opportunity. And honestly, I'll go ahead and do that. So I'll connect it to Mission Control webinar, and I'll go ahead and launch our project. So right away, we have our two milestones are created, build, and deliver. So we have our milestones created, perfect. But we all know we have a project, we have milestones, we may need to create some actions here. So that's why we have this create actions button at the very top here, and I'm able to create actions right away. So what I'll do to make this simple for the webinar, I'll go ahead and add one more milestone. So what this is doing is we're relating our action to the milestone, right? So I'll go ahead and create two actions for the build milestone and then one action for the deliver milestone. And I'll simply call this build 1, build 2, and then deliver 1, so that way we understand our actions. If I want to quickly update these rows here, I can say, all right, I'll click this, which is going to be a mass update. And I know that for each of these actions, I want at least 5 hours for each of these actions, which is easy. And then I'll make the start date. Honestly, let's make the start date the same for all for that one. So let's do June 18th, June 19th, and then June 20th. Start date June 18th, 19th, and the 20th. End date is going to be, let's do 1 working day for each one, which is great. I'll make sure that someone says June. All right. So our action owner, we can go ahead and assign an action owner. So if I know who has the availability, I'll go ahead and simply say item dosi. But if I do not know who has availability, I can utilize this icon right to our right that says resource assignment wizard. So this resource assignment wizard, what it's going to do is it's going to look at our organization here, right? And I want to filter down on my team of designers and developers. And what this is going to do is it's going to look at these designers and developers, and it's going to pull up a team of those individuals, as well as if I want to define a skill, if I want to get granular, as well as how proficient they are in that skill. But I'm good there. I just want someone on the team of designers and developers to do this job. I'll search. And what this is letting me know is how many hours they have scheduled for these certain days. I can see Jordy Smith is booked 8 hours all the way to the 21st. So maybe I don't want to click him. So I'll go ahead and choose Joe Parkinson because he's free. And right away, we have reassigned work to Joe Parkinson, and I'll assign this work over to me as well. And hit save. So right away, we were able to create a project plan with our milestones build and deliver. We have build 1 action, build 2 action, the action owners, Ikem Dosi and Joe Parkinson, as well as delivering Ikem Dosi is the action owner for that. So quite simply, we were able to create milestones and create actions. So we have a full blown out project plan in less than about 5-6 minutes, right? So that's wonderful. I'll go ahead and get out of here. And we'll go back to our mission control console. So one thing I do want to show before we look at an opportunity is our templates here. So we have our mission control templates. So if you want to, and you know what kind of project this is going to be, we can clone a project from our mission control console. So I'll go ahead and click on template website build. and clone this project. What's going to happen here is it's going to take us to our project settings. So before a project is officially cloned, it's going to take us to our project settings. And best practice, please name your templates. I know it sounds minuscule, but please do it. It's easy. As well as our project owner is a placeholder project manager. Just because I'm creating this project live, I may not know who has availability just yet. So I don't want to just assign it to somebody randomly. I can go ahead and look at our scheduler a little bit later and reassign work really, really easily. But for now, I'm going to leave my action owners, milestone owners, and project owners as placeholders for now, so that way I get an idea of who has availability first before I create this project, or before I assign this project. On the flip side, though, if you're creating a project from a template and it's a kind of a template that is specialized, let's say it's an implementation template, right? And you only have one person that's in charge of all implementations, it makes sense to add them at the template level. That way, whenever an implementation comes and you're creating a project or cloning a project, that individual that is attached at that template will get assigned automatic, or go ahead and get assigned, and then he will automatically kind of know, hey, I'm assigned work because he got a notification. Right. So we can assign different categories to this, of course, kind of specialize it. But let's go ahead and look at our project settings real quickly here. We have our billing types, fixed price, all the way down to retainer to T&M. We have our billings rate from standard all the way down to rate card. So standard is what you define at the project level. Role base is depending on the individual. So I gets paid 150 versus somebody named Devin, he gets paid 200. We can go look at the skill. So depending on the skill, if you have design skill attached, the design skill gets paid 150 as opposed to the developer skill gets paid 200. Lastly, we have a rate card, which is more individualized and customized. So if you kind of, let's say, hit a deal with a customer on a project plan, you can charge an individual rate or a specialized rate, and that's attached to a rate card. What's great is the rate card is saved, so at any moment you want to bring up that special billable rate or cost rate, you can go ahead and utilize the rate card that's been saved within the system. We can change our different colors here, and we'll see that reflected throughout the system. We can have our project owner and role manager, so kind of a two-step approval process for timesheets and expenses. We have our different billing cycles from milestone, manual, periodic, and retainer. Billing frequencies, weekly, all the way down to quarterly. And payment terms, 7 all the way down to 90. So when we look at our project plan down here, we have our 3 different milestones: design, build, and deliver. Design, build, and deliver. I've cascaded the build and deliver milestones. So when we look at this, like I mentioned, we have placeholders. And for our actions, we have a placeholder designer, just because I may not know who has availability as a designer just yet. But when they do, I will reassign them work via the scheduler or some other method of understanding how the resources are, what capacity they're in right now. So right now we have a start date of 6/18, but let's say I want a start date of 6/25. We can see that these dates change below here to accommodate for the time as well, because we have an idea of how long these different actions should take. And we have our design wireframes, design UI, placeholder as our owners, as well as the time that we believe it should take for these actions. So it's great for us to get an understanding of what a template looks like, especially when we look at design, build, and deliver milestones and actions. And for this specific milestone, we're going to go ahead and invoice $6,500 whenever this milestone is complete. And that's kind of embedded within this template. So I actually won't clone this project, because the reason I would like to go with project settings and the project template is so that way, whenever we talk about opportunities and that opportunity to project creation, it makes a lot more sense. So within mission control, we can automatically create a project from a closed won opportunity. So I'm be going through it a little bit more manually, so that we have an idea of what it looks like and how it's kind of the logic behind it. Just know though, whatever status you define. So if you have a negotiation review phase and you want a project request or a project to be created from the stage they're on, you absolutely can. So that project request, maybe you don't want a project to be spun up automatically, right? You wanted to go through the request and get it approved before it spins up a project, you can. So within this org, I'm doing a project being spun out right away, but you can go ahead and have it to spin up a project request in case you want to get it approved, depending on the stage that it is on. All right. So you might see something pretty Pretty nice here. So that new project that I just created, I called it Webinar June. You saw me create it live. I've actually attached it and related it to this opportunity. And what's great there is because Salesforce is such a very, one-stop shop, making sure to have everything connected. It's actually connected this project that I just created live to the opportunity that I defined at Mission Control webinar, and that's going to be connected to his account here as well, Africa Business Solutions. So we want to go ahead and promote that area of connectedness because it makes your job and your life a whole lot easier. All right. So, and the reason why I wanted to spend some time on that template is because whenever we create a project from a closed won opportunity, it's going to look at either the products that we have attached to this opportunity. So you can have essentially product or service template. So let's say we have a mission control service product and a mission control implementation product, right? Those different products can have their own template, their own specified template. And whenever you combine it in the opportunity here, you can create a project plan based off those individualized templates for that service or product that you've outlined and attached to the opportunity. I'm going to do a little bit more easy, digestible way because we just looked at this template website build whenever we're talking about that template I looked at earlier when I was cloning a project. So what this is going to do is it's going to attach the opportunity information here, and then it's going to look at this template and copy over those actions, design, build, and deliver actions that we've defined. And again, it's going to be a little bit more manual, so that way you have a good idea of the logic behind it. Just know we can have it automated to the point wherever his close one status, it's automatically gets spun up. So project start date, let's go ahead and do the 19th. Oh, no, 19th is a holiday. So let's do the 20th. Go ahead and save. Wonderful. And then now we have one project that webinar June, but we should have two projects whenever I hit close one status. And then now we have our risk control webinar project being created, right? And you may have noticed something else here. And this is going to be a wonderful segue into our scenario number 2, where we have our COGS tracker that has been created. But we'll take a pin on that and we'll focus solely on this mission control webinar project for now. So jumping into that mission control webinar project, we can see that I have that design, build, and deliver milestones that I labeled that I brought up earlier. So again, that template has been copied over perfectly. So what we want to do here is we want to assign some actions, right? Because right now it's still placeholders. So what we can do is that same thing that I did earlier when I created that new project, utilize this resource assignment wizard icon, and then I can reassign work to those actions. And it went ahead, and because the placeholder designer is on the designer team, it went ahead and pre-filtered on team of designers. So all I need to do here is hit search. And then now I can go ahead and reassign work to Julian right away. And then if I see that this is a lot of work, 24 hours, and it's spanning over a couple of days, I can even add a contributor, Lane Beachley, to help out and take some of this work. And I'll go ahead and assign her, let's say, 10 hours. So now Lane is in charge of 10 hours, whereas Julian is in charge of 14, and I'll hit save. Wonderful. So now Julian Wilson is the action owner. But for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and hit the auto assignment wizard. And what this is doing is it's going to go ahead and either automatically assign individuals or recommend me individuals based on criteria that I've kind of weighted in the back. So I can look at a search method of either master team or skill. So if we look at the search method of master team, it's kind of looking at the team they're on, their tenure, as well as their capacity. If you choose to look at skill, it's looking at the skill, their skill proficiency, how much they enjoy the skill, maybe the tenure within that skill, as well as the capacity of that individual. So again, for the sake of time, I'll go ahead and quickly reassign and auto-assign work to individuals that the system is recommending me. Once our lovely, lovely mascot goes to the moon, comes back with recommendations, which are great. So I'll go ahead and click senior for the senior consultant, McFanning, developer Kyleni, Julian Wilson, I'll give it back to Julian, Lane, placeholder designer, I'll give it a Lane as well. So Lane, you're loaded up now. Project manager, I know it's recommending me Stephanie, but because I care about me, I'll look at Ike Mendoza as the project manager, and the trainer will be Gabriel. And now it's going to give us a work breakdown. And then now, I'll refresh the page. It's going to assign work to those individuals. So a couple of things I want to do here. If we want to go ahead and log time, just know that there's many different ways for us to log time. whether it be clicking on this component at the very bottom left here, going across to the action and logging time here, and then just marking that as complete. We can either log time or start tracking time. Or if we want to look at multiple projects or actions across multiple projects, we can easily go to our timesheet here to just log time there, right? So we can have our timesheet and then we can log time against all of our actions assigned to us, which is great. But for the sake of time, let's go ahead and let's pretend maybe we don't log time, right? We just want to mark things as complete. And like I mentioned, this design milestone, we'll send out an invoice whenever I mark that whole design milestone as complete. So there's no billing event created, and we have two design actions here, design wireframes and design UI. So while I'm in the whiteboard here, I'll go ahead and change the column heading from instead of milestone, I'll change it to status. And then I'll move over our design actions and I'll go ahead and open it up by clicking this button. And I'll go ahead and move this over from instead of planned, I'm going to move it over to complete. So now without me logging time, just in case you don't log time, just know you can, of course. But in case you don't log time, we can go ahead and mark those actions as complete within the whiteboard. And what that's going to do, once it's marked complete, we can go ahead and go back to our billing and see that, hey, that invoice that's going to shoot out off of milestone completion has been sent out, and it's sent out an invoice of $6,500. Currently, it's at draft status, but what's great here, like I mentioned earlier, is whatever integrates within Salesforce, Mission Control can pick it up. So let's say you have accounting seat of QuickBooks. You just need an accounting software to collect payment. So Mission Control will always document that information within the system, within the project plan, and kind of feed you those reports and financials and that data point there. But what we need to do is have that accounting software come in here, collect payment, and then Mission Control automatically change that from issued to paid. So again, looking at whiteboard, we have our planned, but if you ever want to break it down by action owner, you can. So this is a great way for the individual person to understand, hey, what is my assignments? And I just need to mark it off as complete as I go. And we're looking at a whiteboard for a specific project here. But if you want to look at all your projects in the org, just focus on the objects at the very top here. Objects at the very top will give you a general overview of what's going on. So if you want to look at all your whiteboards, boom, all your timesheets across your actions, boom, the schedule of all your projects, boom, right? So the object is going to give you a more general sense of things. Let's go ahead and dive into the Gantt chart here. So we saw that I was able to complete an action via the whiteboard real easily, real simply, right? The great thing about the whiteboard or the Gantt chart, we're going to focus on the build and deliver milestones. We're able to create dependencies across our actions. So that way, at any point, if we want to say, all right, we can't move to prepare training materials until we finish our framework, we can build that in. And what's great here is the fact that the second individual, so let's look at build page content. That's the second action. The person that the action is dependent on, right? So whenever build framework is complete, the individual that's in charge of build page content, McFanning, will get notified, hey, the previous action has been completed. It's now your time to shine and your time to go. But let's go ahead and say that maybe there's an issue or risk that was attached to build framework. I can move this build framework over here. And as I move it over, it's going to elongate the project plan as well as the steps afterwards. But maybe as a project manager, I want to get an idea of how that change really affected the system or affected our timeline. I can go ahead and toggle our baseline dates. And right away, I can see that it was supposed to start the 27th, but now it's starting on the 4th of July. Within our Gantt chart, we're going to export via PNG, CSV, PDF, as well as, like you just saw me click that button, right? You are unable to, it doesn't save automatically. That's purposeful. We don't want you to save something unless you're comfortable with it and it makes sense to you. So I'll go ahead and hit save. And if at any point you want to export it via XML, MS, you absolutely can as well. So we have a lot of export options within our system here. And now this has saved, letting us know that our changes are now permanent. Now, if we want to look at the Gantt chart view of all our projects, we absolutely can. And then that's, again, like I mentioned, if I'm aligned with the managerial individual, I get a good sense of what's going on throughout all of our projects via the Gantt chart here. Yep. Just know you're able to create cross-project dependencies. So that way, if you need to, you can go ahead and do that as well. Let's go ahead and jump into our scheduler. I know we are spending some time on scenario one. No worries, scenario two will come up and we'll kind of talk about that CAC tracker, activity tracking progress or project. I personally love the scheduler here because it does a great job of giving us an idea what's going on, who's at capacity and who's not. So I'll go ahead and change the scale here from instead of looking at weeks, we're going to look at days and we're going to look at a 2-week view for days here. So I'll change it to days. All right. And then as we're seeing, we have our resources here. And what that's doing is letting us know the schedule allocation for this 2-week span, as well as the utilization here. And if I want to, I'll go ahead and filter down on our team of designers and developers. Filter. And then now I'm looking at my team of designers and developers. And we can see, for example, Jordy Smith is overloaded Wednesday the 19th. I can go ahead and just drag and drop and give this to somebody else. And now we're seeing that now Julian is in charge of this action. And that has actually affected his schedule allocation and utilization, as well as Jordy Smith schedule allocation and utilization there as well. But let's say we have our placeholder roles, like I mentioned earlier, we can go ahead and find, all right, we need a placeholder, we need a developer to do this action, this flow project request. I can go ahead and drag and drop it over to Kai Lenny, and now he's in charge of this. So that's why I always recommend having placeholder roles, so that way you can understand who needs it or what role needs it, and kind of space it out a little bit, so that way you can spend some time and give Kai Lenny some, additional time to do some work here. All right. So we kind of covered our first flow, our just broad overview of mission control. If you want more information, you want more detailed information, you want more personalized information, please reach out to us so that we can go ahead and work a demo for you guys and make sure that you're seeing what you need to do within mission control. Just know that mission control can do a lot. So now we're going to our scenario number 2, where we're going to be focused on activity tracking. So again, we're going to go ahead and make a lead to an opportunity, and we're going to track our sales effort, COGS tracker, which is our support effort, as well as just general effort as well. So let's go ahead and go to our leads here. I'll go ahead and exit out here. And we'll look at our leads. So we have our lead, Miss Betty Blair. So as we know, when a lead is converted, we're all good there. We'll look at the details. Let's say this lead is officially converted. So we'll go ahead and convert this lead into an opportunity, an account, and a contact. And I'll go ahead and call this opportunity mission control. So, and I'll go ahead and say, let's see here. Cool. So creating a new account, contact, and opportunity. Let's go ahead and convert this. All right. So like you just saw, I created an opportunity and account contact live, right? So let's go ahead and dive into this opportunity. And you'll notice something here. We have already have our American Banking Corp Risk Control CAC Tracker project that has been created. We've done this automatically. So within the system, whenever we have a new opportunity, now we want to be able to track our sales effort against this account or against this opportunity here. And that's how we're able to do it, by having some automation be created. Whenever an opportunity is created, create a CAC tracker, that client acquisition cost. So as a sales rep, as I'm working this, because this created a project, I'll go ahead and click into it. Because this has now created a project, it has created a CAC tracker. So the way that we handle this within our organization is we want to understand the effort or our sales effort, right? So this CAC tracker will do that. And underneath our milestone, we have our CAC tracker project here, CAC tracker milestone, and just essentially the name, right? So this is going to be a catch-all. So at any point, if I'm on a call with this customer, if I'm just, typing up a long email, you know what I'm talking about, the long ones that they say, don't log time against it. This email took me 30 minutes to 40 minutes to create. I'm logging time against it. So at any point, if you're working this, have any kind of effort, this is going to be where we can go ahead and log time against it. So let's say I spent, I don't know, 5 hours. I talked to them for 2 hours. I was doing some research on their business reports, and I sent an email that took 30 minutes. So overall, 5 hours. And I'll put some notes here. Client call, business report, and then long email. Yeah, put two G's, kind of let them know how long it was, right? So I'm a log time against this. And what's great is that now we can track my effort is specifically against this project. You may be wondering, hey, do I have to come into the project log time against it every time? Absolutely not. That wouldn't be, that wouldn't be effective or efficient. So we can go ahead and look at our timesheet here. I'll go ahead and close this. We're going to look at our timesheet here. And like I mentioned, we just created this live. So that American Banking Corp project right here, American Banking Corp, has now been funneled into our timesheet. So like we saw, I logged 5 hours today. And honestly, I'll just go ahead and log some hours for tomorrow. You're not supposed to, but hey, let me do that. So like we've seen, we created that lead to an opportunity, right? Because that opportunity was created live and was just automatically created, it went ahead and spun up a project plan, which is our CAC tracker project. So anytime I'm working this opportunity, I'm trying to get it to close, all that effort that I'm doing, I'm now logging some time against it. So this is just going to give you a better idea of how long does it typically take to get an opportunity to close a win? How much effort should it take? Is there some processes? Is there some things that we want to do differently to make this more effective in the future? Or just in general, kind of get an idea of, hey, how are my sales reps spending their time, right? So it's a great way to handle this. You can come in here, get an idea, and lock some time information, maybe even any other actions here or any other tabs here you want to import some information. But the main thing here is it's going to go ahead and feed into your timesheet as well as just be ongoing here. All right. No questions so far. I think I'm doing a good job. You let me know if I am or not, So we have a CAC tracker, right? Great. And of course, we have our contact roles and it's related to an account name. Perfect. All this information is synchronized, is connected. We love that. But let's go ahead and say, opportunity is closed won now, right? Let's say we've actually won this opportunity and I'm going to select closed won status. So earlier we saw in that scenario one, how I was able to automatically create a project off of closed won status. And that was actually a template that had design, build, and deliver. Within this scenario number two, where we're focusing on just activity and tracking that effort, we now, whenever a project is closed won, so let's say this American Banking Corp project is now going to be done, right? Because we're done with our sales effort. We're not worried about that anymore. It's now going to be completed and it can be archived, right? Of course, that information is going to still live in the system. So at any point you want to come back and say, all right, what was the sales effort that we made on this opportunity? You can go ahead and find that CAC tracker, right? But because this CAC tracker is always going to be related to this opportunity, this account, it's going to live here, just know that it's completed and already archived. So I'll go ahead and cancel this out. And now we have a new project that's been created off of a closed won opportunity, and that's going to be our COGS tracker. So now we're not in the sales process anymore. We're now going to be supporting this customer because now they are a customer, not a opportunity. So let's go ahead and dive in here. And the way we're accomplishing this internally, the way we're accomplishing this in general is by flows, right? So we have kind of a flow that says, all right, whenever an opportunity is created, give me a CAC tracker. Whenever an opportunity is closed, whenever an opportunity is closed, we then want a COGS tracker to be formed. And like we saw earlier, because this project is created and now attached to an individual, this is going to appear on the timesheet as well as the CAC tracker did. So within our COGS tracker, again, cost of goods sold, we're going to look at both account management. So let's say I have a 30, 60, 90-day health check call with the customer. Every time I have a health check, I come in here and say, all right, I've met with this customer for about 30 minutes, 90 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever the case may be. So let's go ahead and say I'm going to go ahead and log some time and say I've completed an hour and a half. And I did some customer call as well as research. I don't know, whenever you just kind of, jizzle some research in there, you can add like an extra 30 minutes, I don't do this though. I don't do that. But I'm going to go ahead and log time against that. So now we did some account management, but let's go ahead and say at any point too, if we needed customer success or even support to get on a call with American Banking Corp, or in the case with support, maybe there's a case, right? The customers work or support was working a case, took them a couple hours, they can log time against this. What's great about the COGS tracker is just tracking that effort afterwards, right? As a current customer, how much effort are we applying? How much pressure are we applying for our customer, our current customers, making sure that, hey, is support up on this customer? We spent how many hours on support? We need to look into this, right? How many account managements? How long would you spend on account management? We need to look into that, right? So all this activity tracking is great for that manager or those managers and execs to just get a good idea of how the business is run, right? How much time is being spent in these different pockets? How much time is being spent in sales? How much time is being spent in service? And let's track that, right? How many cases does this client have? Is it a lot? How much time are we spending on these cases, right? So this is just a different way to handle or to utilize mission control. Instead of just focusing solely on operations, project management, let's focus on our sales. Let's focus on our service, and let's let mission control work for us to give us these metrics, give us these numbers, so that we can find the holes in our business and fix them, right? So we have our two milestones: account management, COGS tracker, and customer success, customer support. So at any point, customer support works on this, they can come in here, log some time, and I'll just go ahead and act like Ike Mendoza is now a support agent. We went ahead and helped them out with helped configure org. That's probably more of a customer success thing, huh? Help answer questions. Let's do that. Help answer questions. And it took 2 hours. I'm putting a lot of time again to this. Again, you see me do this across the action while I'm in the project, but no worries. Again, while we're in the timesheet, we're looking at American Banking Corp COGS tracker. We can go ahead and look at our timesheet. And because we have our action attached to us, we can see that, hey, this action is customer success, customer support, or account management. So again, our COGS tracker is going to be funneled into our time tracker or into our timesheet as soon as like you saw, we closed the opportunity, we created a project, and those actions were assigned to me. And as soon as those actions were assigned to me, which is why when the opportunity was closed it has now been funneled into our timesheet. So at any time we can log time against it. Or we can go ahead and say, maybe we have some internal BAU. So speaking of BAU, let's go ahead and jump to this real quickly before we look at how that COGS tracker can support, the case management. So the BAU, like I mentioned earlier, is going to be more of a catch-all, right? So this is going to be more of your non-billable work. So if at any point, maybe you have some admin work, maybe you have some just general or meetings, or you have some personal development going on, right? Everybody wants to personally develop. You want to get better at your job. So let's say I spent 2 hours looking at our new releases and our training videos and things of that nature, just so I can upskill myself, making sure I can dot my T's, cross my I's. Yeah, I said that backwards. So personal development, let's say training videos and release notes. I spent an hour and a half on that. So this is just a great way. Again, when we talk about activity tracking, we just want to understand what's being done in our business, how much time, effort is being spent where, and how can we execute that and make it a little bit better, right? So if I'm in the BAU and in 1 week, I say I spent, I don't know, 6 hours in meetings, non-billable meetings, just meetings. So those are internal meetings. We have 6 hours of internal meetings in a week. Maybe we can kind of cut that down, right? So this lets you think more proactively and making sure that things are, moving accordingly. So like we saw, we have that BAU, and this internal BAU is going to be on my timesheet for as long as this whole year, because 2024. And I can see I put 1.5 hours, and that's been translated here, letting us know we have some personal development here. All right. So our last use case is maybe we have some cases, right? So we have an internal customer that has a case. Unfortunately, we don't like cases, but as long as we're able to, fix them up, send them on their way, we're good. So let's say we now have a case being sent from John Regis, and his account name is Africa Business Solutions. So I can see the Gantt chart is not showing up. Customer states that whenever on the he can't even spell. Whenever on the Gantt object, the projects aren't pulling up. Okay, so as a support individual, I get this case, and this is not the first time I've heard this actually. So I kind of think I know what's going on. So once I contact John, maybe via email, or I can just send out a case update via the feed here. But let's go ahead. I talked to him. I emailed him, and then he showed me his Gantt chart. I noticed something. His preset filters were on. That's why it's not showing all of his Gantt, no, all of his projects because he has a preset filter and he simply forgot to turn it off. Wonderful. I've told him about it. Hey, make sure your preset filters are off so that way you can see all the Gants that you're worried about. Great. John has done that, and now he's in good graces. And now we can go ahead and close this case. All right. So with that being said, we can come in here, right? And this is how we look at the COGS tracker here, right? We want to look at the customer support. I've applied some customer support. I helped them out here. Let's go ahead and look for our Aprica Business Solution COGS tracker. Simply done, right? Aprica Business Solutions, and I can go ahead and select an action. It was customer support. And if I wanted to, I can say time log type, billable, non-billable. You don't need to, but I'll go ahead and do it for myself. So I'll say hours completed, 2 hours. And because I want to leave notes, customer had preset filters on. Turned off. Now he's seeing all the projects, the account. Nice. So we're easily able to just pull up a project, attach it to the COGS tracker action. So that way we now know, hey, customer support was done here. This was an effort. We're tracking activity and we're relating it to a case. Again, we want to be connected within the Salesforce ecosystem. We want to be connected, and that's what Mission Control is offering. Ways to not only look at project management, right, but ways to affect your sales and your service and have it all connected. So that way, at any point, if I want to pull up, hey, what happened with this account? I can see the projects, I can see the opportunity, contacts, the cases, and I can reference the activity that I've done across these customers. So that way I can kind of say, hey, tier one customer, we got some tier one support, some tier one activity. Tier two customer, we probably need to spend some more time there. There's not enough activity, right? So this is giving you the idea of how to frame your business and how to kind of shape it to project management. We need mission control. Sales and service, we can use mission control, right? So I'll go ahead and log time. And now we have our time log created, which is wonderful. And then if I needed to, I can go ahead and close this case. But for the sake of the demonstration, I kind of leave it open so I can use it again, right? Wonderful. So we've done that. We've seen how we've created leads from opportunity, how that CAC tracker, the client acquisition cost project was automatically created to track a sales effort. COGS tracker was there to track account management, support, customer success effort, and the internal BAU was just kind of a catch-all, tracking that non-billable effort and activity that we've done across the board. But nothing's ever complete without us having a dashboard, right? So as a exec, I guess, right? I want to get an idea of the effort that we spent across our CAC, COGS, and internal BAU. Wonderful. Let me go ahead and refresh it because I think we have more information now. Yes, we do. And I quickly built out this report. It's very easily done. So I can see that within this Greenwich opportunity, Greenwich Media, I spent 12 hours. The Grand Hotel, I spent 7 hours. And the American Banking Corp, I've only spent 8 hours in my sales effort. So as a sales, this is how much time I spent. But then whenever we got them to a customer, we can see that Aprica Business Solutions has spent some time with customer support and some time with account management, but we spent a whole lot more time with Greenwich when we talk about customer support, account management, and customer success, kind of giving us an idea of where we're spending our time, how much activity that we're doing for each individual customer that we now have because they are the COGS tracker. And lastly, we have our internal BAU letting me know, hey, where am I kind of spending my work? I see I have 5 hours in admin, 3 hours in general, 4 hours in meeting, and 1.5 hours in personal development. So like I mentioned, as long as it lives within the system, we are able to build a reporting dashboard from it. And we can see that I've quite literally created some of these information live. When we talk about the American Banking Corp, Aprica Business Solution, and even the personal development here, I've done that live and it's quite literally fed into our dashboard. And if I wanted to, I can actually put this dashboard onto my home page. So that way, every time I log on, I have that dashboard letting me know how my activity is going. It's just like I have this mission control dashboard here. All right. That is it for our webinar today, scenario 1 and 2. Again, scenario 1, we went through just that basic flow of mission control on the project management side, from project creation all the way to visualizing team data and reports to dashboards. And then we're looking at scenario 2, where mission control can feed into sales and service, letting us know how we can track activity and kind of just retrofit mission control in a lot of different ways that maybe you haven't initially thought of. And that's the sake of this webinar. Mission control does a lot more than you think it can do. And if you open up your imagination, realize what mission control can do, it probably does more than that, right? So within mission control, we want to make sure that we're giving you the support you need and giving you the information you need in terms of features. But okay, can we see the overall whiteboard, all the projects and what view options they are? Yes, you can. Real quickly before I close out, let's look at the overall whiteboard here. So our whiteboard is now looking at different statuses. So I'll go ahead and filter down on, actually I'll keep it at status, but if you want to, we can look it down at action owner, which now you're seeing all the action owners across different projects, which is color coded differently. So this view might look, that's a lot of information, right? So what we can do is utilize this filtering option, which is kind of prevalent within the system, and create a preset filter like I mentioned earlier. Or we can just filter down on specific projects, specific milestones, project categories, action skills, milestones, and things of that nature, project owners. But what I can do, and what I want to do, I can filter down on specific teams, right? So I can look at everybody that's part of the design developer team and pull up their projects. Filter down. Or let me do this actually. Let's go ahead and filter down. Instead of teams, let's filter down on what I like to do, action owners. So I'm going to say everybody that has an action across, or Icondos has actions across any project, I can see all of those. So I can see these different projects, and I can tell that there are different projects really easily because of the different colors and the coordination here as well. At any point, if I want to, I can just drag this over and mark it as on hold or complete and things of that nature. Also, we can see that we have an issue here because whenever we look at this whistle icon, that's why it's currently on hold, is because we have a issue attached here that I can double click and see, hey, this issue is a missing component. So there's a lot of information available to you at the whiteboard level. And what I always say in terms of looking at the whiteboard, please leverage the filter, so that way you can go ahead and create a preset filter. So whenever you as an individual, maybe I can be able to see every time I come up on the whiteboard, I just want to filter down on my actions or project owners that's a part of Alana Blancard and things of that nature. And at any point, you can add milestones, add actions, but also utilizing this role icon here, or these roles to the left or right, I can quickly drag and drop someone here and reassign that work to another individual. So a lot can be done throughout the whiteboard here. All right. Any more questions, let me know. I'll go ahead and close out the slides, but by all means, any lingering questions, let me know. So how we support you, we'll go through a 4-step process. 1, understanding your business, identifying your requirements, and then 2, going through a product evaluation through a tailored solution demonstration and a 14-day free trial. And then when you onboard with us, we have a 90-day onboarding plan with a lot of learning materials, learning packages, and ongoing support with first-class support, knowledge base, and 3 major releases per year. Mission control, native Salesforce, work out of the box, no implementation required, global user support, and we have some nice key impact attributed to mission control with 6,000% return on investment, 32% increase in attributed profit, and 45% increase in overall efficiency. Like I mentioned earlier, mission control does a lot. I didn't even show you, I don't even have to show you 20% of the product, right? But we do not do add-ons, right? A lot of our, I don't want to call them competitors, but a lot of different people or corporations do add-ons for resourcing, add-ons for even maybe time tracking, things of that nature. You have all this information, you have all these features available to you as soon as you purchase mission control. It is up to you to say, hey, we're not using time tracking right now, let's turn it off. Hey, we're not using a revenue recognition right now, let's kind of turn it off and hide it. So at any point, you just come back in the system. As you scale, as you grow, as you get more comfortable with the mission control, you come back into the system and just turn it back on, right? You always have access to it. It's just up to you to figure out what you're most comfortable with and what you kind of want to move on forward with. I need to bring up our support. I need to bring up how good we are doing within just our customers, right? Because our customer support does such a fantastic job that we're very highly rated, right? Beating out Certinia, Cantata, client with an 81 NPS score, and that's a high score. You know, not a lot of people can say that, right? Not a lot of people can say that. So we do a great job with ease of use, meeting requirements, but also delivering, you know, delivery success to our customers. And the average time to go live is actually within a month. 88% is within a month. And if you have a very, very big implementation, very, very broad, big use case, maybe it takes a little bit longer than that, but usually it's within the month. High performer, Spring, and momentum leader in Spring. That's new. That's 2024. So this is not an old slide, right? So they're doing their thing. And we have some mission control is mission critical to our success reviews from a senior VP of global services here and a lot of other very big names. So that way I can preach that we're good, but let them preach for me, right? Because mission control is breathing success. Case studies, just to let you know, we have a couple, whether it be the research and testing industry. So over the last 3 years, we've had a 30% increase in efficiency, allowing us to deliver more projects and research by utilizing these features to our right, the console Gantt Chart project builder, and modernizing and consolidating all various tools to make life a lot more effective and efficient. And for this specific use case, Mission Control's real-time data has enabled each of our project managers to save 4 man days per month. This specific customer had 15 project managers. So 15 project managers times 4 is 60. So they were able to save 60 man days per month, utilize Mission Control, which is wonderful. And of course, we have one more case study by improving project visibility and accountability and reporting and creating standardization. They were really able to see success within their business by utilizing these features to our right here. Again, these are some features that I didn't bring up yet, just so that you know that Mission Control does a lot. I haven't spoken on everything, but we can do a lot more than anything we can. All right, so 14-day free trial, native to Salesforce. Ooh. If you would like to trial, go ahead and go to apprica.com/MC app, or go to the App Exchange, type in Mission Control, and you can just turn it on. You just get a trial, turn it on, and then use that create sample data to get some sample data in, and just play around with it. And if at any point you have questions, let us know. We're here to help. We're always here to help. And last but not least, thank you guys. Mission Control out. I wish I had a mic drop. That would have been right. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you for those that are going to watch the recording. If you have any questions, and of course you weren't live to ask those questions, please send out an email to these different emails below, so that way you can talk to me if you like me, talk to our other reps, talk to our support, whoever you need to talk to get Mission Control within your org. Just let us know. If you have any questions, send those emails. But with that being said, thank you guys for joining. Any remaining questions, please let me know. I'll just kind of keep it on the screen so that we have an idea of where you want to go. All right, everybody has a great day. Bye.